Well, how are your self-storage goals coming for the year? Well, as I write this and video this, it's mid-year. Now, it really doesn't matter when you're seeing this. It's always a good time to get a reality check on where you are for your goals. But I thought I'd let you zero in and get a shot at what I do around my goals. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Self-Storage Quick Start Academy. And what I do is I support the small investor who wants to get in the self-storage business or who wants to grow their self-storage business, strategically do so in a way that creates true wealth and a fulfilling career. And a big part of that is having set some goals and then along the way doing a reality check to see where you are with your goals. Now, for many of us, this is an uncomfortable topic, myself included this year, because we are way behind where I said I would be at this point in the year. Now, I have some really good reasons why we're behind. I'm sure you do too if you're behind on your goals. You know, I have reasons like prices are still very high. I thought they would have come down by now. It's hard to make deals work out there. I have partners who spend too much money. I have investors that are unreasonable. I have banks that are unreasonable. I have all kinds of reasons why we're behind. And all of these reasons are valid. I mean, probably true to some extent. But are they really the reason why we haven't achieved our goal? You know, I sure hope not. Here's the thing, as kids, we all learn that if there is an expectation of us from someone that's important to us and we don't meet that expectation, that is a very, very uncomfortable feeling. We learn that as children. And what really helps is to be able to shift the quote blame somewhere off of ourselves, even if we just do it internally, because that gives us some relief. We learn that very early in life, where we're usually not very present to it, but that's what we have trained ourselves and we have been trained to do. We shift responsibility somewhere outside of ourselves so we can have a certain feeling or avoid other feelings we don't want to have. And that's a valid thing to do. There's only one problem with that. The problem is you have no power. I have no power. Like I've said many times before, I'm much more interested in what gives me power than what is the real reason why we haven't achieved our goals. Ultimately, the real reason doesn't really matter. What matters is that I have dials and levers, access to the ability to do something different so that I can get the goals achieved. You know, having reasons and being able to shift responsibility, or what we're really doing is shifting blame onto someone else, that takes the heat off of us, at least temporarily, and allows us to avoid experiencing certain feelings, but it doesn't really empower us. Let's talk about the concept of being 100% responsible for what happens in our life and in our business. What happens is when we shift the responsibility off us onto the economy or other people, what that does is it creates us as victims. We are at the mercy of what's going on outside of us. Now again, it's valid and it might even be true, but I don't care. By being a victim, I have no power. So I've explored for years the concept of being 100% responsible for what goes on in my life and in my business. By being a victim, what happens is two things. One is we have the little ability to alter anything and nothing in our life usually gets much better. That's the cost of shifting responsibility off of ourselves into the outer world, into the economy or other people. The cost of not experiencing those feelings you're trying to avoid and you're subconsciously avoiding by shifting responsibility, that's a pretty big cost to pay when you sit down and look at it. So what would life actually look like if we were 100% responsible for what goes on in our life and in our business? Well, we would acknowledge what's going on in the outer world, but we would look inward to be at the source or the cause of our experience in life. So I just said being at the source of the results in your life. Now, I'm not saying that I'm looking for what's really true about me being the cause of the result. I'm really not interested in that. I'm interested in what I can authentically create that places me in the middle, at the source of the results. Why? Well, because then I actually have the opportunity or the possibility of altering what the results are. Look, I can't change the economy. I can't change interest rates. I can't change bank procedures. I can't even change my wife's mind very much. There's actually very little outside of myself that I have a lot of direct influence over. And if my business is at the mercy of what's going on outside of me, I'm in real trouble because there's not much I can do. So by creating myself at the source of the results I've had this year, i.e. not achieving our goals, now there's a possibility of achieving them by doing some work on myself. There is a real art, a real skill set to learn and develop at being 100% responsible for the results you have in life. Here is the art of it, the skill set to develop. And that's the ability to be at the source of the results and not be blaming myself for what's going on, not shaming or blaming myself for what the results in my life are. That's a real art to be able to develop that. The natural tendency, the natural place we go as human beings, and it's not personal, it's for every single one of us, that instead of being at the source, what we do is we blame ourselves, and then that's hard to be with. And then that's when we shift the responsibility outside of ourselves. What if we could be at the source and not be disempowered, not have the experience of being wrong and bad because we are not achieving the results that we said we would? That is the real art of being in the world and being 100% responsible for what the results are. Try this on. You really can be 100% responsible for whatever results and experiences you or your business has in life. Try on that we create a reality basically from our belief system, and then the world literally bends itself and shapes itself to reinforce the reality that we have mostly unconsciously created. I know that might be a stretch for some of us, but just try that on for a minute. Don't think about it as it true or not. Just try it on as a possibility. I mean, think of how many people today are members of the Flat Earth Society. Now, there is an unbelievable amount of facts and data to show that our planet is actually round. But there are thousands of people who believe with every fiber of their being that the earth is flat and that this round earth idea is literally a conspiracy that's being perpetrated on us for some unknown reason. Facts make no difference. For them, their truth, their reality is that the earth is flat. Now, if they can do that with something that absurd, it's not a big leap to think that we create a truth that is very real to us, and it might be just a possible truth, a possible reality. We all have the ability to believe something that might not actually be the way it is, but yet everything we see when we look out into the world and every experience we have reinforces the belief that we have. Primarily, we experience reality through our senses. And if something out there is not directly experienced through our senses, we have a hard time accepting it as a possible truth or possible reality. The only problem is our senses are very limited. They're only limited to the 5 senses that we currently have. So that brings us to a real question. And the question is, mind over matter. Can our mind, our thoughts, our beliefs actually influence the world and the reality that we live in? If we're being 100% responsible for our lives, can we literally shift how we think and how we relate to ourselves, and have that shift alone create a new reality and a new experience for ourselves and our business? Well, I've spent the last 3.5 years studying science and physics and neuroscience, dive deep into what science is actually telling us about this now. I'm in the middle of compiling a lot of research and data and putting a book together on it. And this book will be designed to help the layman use what science and neuroscience are learning today to help create a better life for ourselves and a better life for society. But it's amazing what science has discovered. This is not the medium to share everything I've learned, but suffice it to say that the old model of reality or the universe or our world operating like a machine, most scientists today have disregarded that model. Yes, there are some very loud vocal scientists today, scientific materialists, who will still say that mind has no influence over matter. But most people who are into physics or neuroscience know differently. And there have been countless experiments that have validated that mind actually can influence matter. And here's why. Matter is not really matter at all. Matter, or more accurately said, the subatomic particles that make up matter, exist both as a wave or a particle. Or said another way, all matter exists both as energy or form. Everything you see exists both as energy and as matter, form, waves and particles. It's not a big leap, and there have been countless experiments done over and over and over again that show that awareness, consciousness, human consciousness actually influences matter at a subatomic level. In fact, when we see something physical, what literally has happened is what's called a wave function collapse. The electrons have gone from wave, energy, to particle, matter, and it actually exists no longer as a probability, but as matter. Matter appears to be solid, but it's 99.9999999% empty space and energy. The 0.00001% is literally what our senses see. Now, when we create truths for ourselves based on what our senses perceive, we are seeing a very, very limited piece of the world. Try on. If you're interested, I have a lot of information on this. Email me and I'll send you more data on it and maybe share with you some of the early drafts of where we are in putting our work together. But try on that your thoughts literally can influence the experiences you have and the reality you live into when you look out into the world. Just try it on for a while. Now, to get back to our topic, I haven't achieved where I wanted to be on our goals for the year. What I do at this point is I look into my own life and I look at where can I authentically, not just intellectually, but like really on a thinking and feeling and gut level, where can I put myself in my world as the source of what the results are that we're creating? Who I have been being, or said more accurately, what my real belief systems are, has created the experience that I've had for the first half of this year. So the work for me is twofold. One, to create, and again, it's a creation. I'm not looking for the truth. I'm looking, where can I authentically put myself at the source, create who I've been being, then complete that and create who I need to be a match for the goals that we've set. So in our goals, I don't want to get too specific because it really doesn't matter, but our goals, we're forming a new type of entity to buy, own, and acquire and manage storage. And I said by mid-year, by the middle of this year, we would have our first new entity up and going. Well, we haven't even finished going through the due diligence of what's required to create the entity to do the work. If I really look in, here's what I see. For the first time in my career in self-storage, we have a project that has not met or exceeded the lease-up expectations that we have. It's going slow. My partners are concerned on this one project. I have the experience of failing at something that I said I would do on this one project. Now, it doesn't matter how many other projects I've met or exceeded expectations on. The fact that I have one that isn't really creates some very familiar old feelings for me. And what I've noticed is it's made me pensive. It's made me doubtful of myself. It's made me lethargic. It's made me slow, less willing to step out and take a risk. I'm less willing to be the person I know myself to be in the self-storage business. Who I've been is cautious, doubting, and not empowered by who I am and what I've accomplished in the storage business. I can see that clear as day. I can create that for myself, that I'm at the source of who I've been being. Now, somebody who's doubtful and cautious is going to move very slowly, not going to be moving fast, shows up as not strong to other people, hence, we're behind. Now, there may be something for me to say to complete with some of the people I work with, but I can authentically create that that's who I have been for the first half of the year. Now, it is intellectually, I get it. It's totally unreasonable to think that 100% of everything I do is going to be perfect and exceed expectations. Of all the projects we've ever done, it's bound to happen that one or two of them aren't going to always meet the expectations. They're going to be slower than what we've said. We've actually got two positive approaches that we're working on to solve that situation. I can now authentically declare that who I've been, doubting, cautious, slow, not believing in myself, is complete, and I can create myself now as a strong, powerful leader that inspires myself and other people to follow and complete what we started. I mean, I can authentically create that for myself. I'm successful in the storage business. I've had a boatload of success in it, and I know the business. So for me to act small and puny is not an accurate reflection of who I am in the storage business. So I declare that complete. Well, what I wanted to show you was these are the processes I go through when I look at my mid-year goals. If we're hitting or exceeding them, as we sometimes do, then I look at who I've been being and is that working, or do I want to create something different? Now, I'm not saying this is what you have to do, but I just wanted to share with you as we go through our goals in life, especially our professional goals, here is the process that we use as we grow and create our self-storage business. I hope this has helped you to some degree, and have a fantastic rest of the year, and I hope you achieve all of your goals in the self-storage business. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage and the Storage World Analyzer. The Analyzer is the financial analysis tool that I designed and that we use to analyze all of the projects that we look at. If you're not using it, I invite you to explore it. Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage.com. Hit the Storage World Analyzer tab or StorageWorldAnalyzer.com. I look forward to being with you again next week.